Henceforth, my brother and his wife declared, "We'll manage the household independently, so find another place to live." My mother, aligning herself with their decision, treated me as an impediment. Do they comprehend who has been footing the bills for the house? I never anticipated such disrespect. In the recesses of my mind, I resolved to take certain actions. I go by the name Carrie, a 30-year-old woman. Currently, I reside in my parents' home. After returning from college, initially I ventured into the corporate world to forge my path. But the challenges overwhelmed me, prompting my return home. While initially navigating unemployment, I explored work-from-home opportunities. Armed with a scientific background, I embarked on a freelance engineering career, commencing with modest projects. The income was meager, yet the experience of working independently was profoundly meaningful. In stark contrast to conventional employment, I could generate ample income without excessive social interaction. As my confidence grew, so did my workload and earnings. Within a year, my income rivaled that of a regular corporate employee. However, the predicament lay in my parents' understanding, especially my mother's reluctance to embrace my work-from-home lifestyle. My father grasped my explanation, but my mother, rooted in traditional beliefs, harbored apprehensions about what she couldn't fathom. Despite my earnest attempts to elucidate, my mother persisted with questions like, "How long do you plan on staying home?" and insinuations about the legitimacy of my online work. Despite presenting evidence of client emails and salary statements, my mother remained unconvinced. She suspected it to be some shady business or involvement in a dubious religion. Despite the consistent payments and the legitimacy of my job, despite my detailed explanations, my mother remained steadfast in her skepticism. She continually expressed concerns about the possibility of relying on unemployment benefits, emphasizing their impermanence. Although I had contemplated living independently, my savings were not yet sufficient. Around that time, my father's health took a toll with deteriorating legs and back, necessitating nursing care. Facing an early retirement and sudden income loss, my father assured me that his pension would suffice. However, acknowledging my mother's spending habits, I questioned his ability to manage. His face wore the fatigue of anxiety about the uncertain future. My father had supported me through college and even when I returned home due to mental health challenges. The idea of leaving him alone and continuing to live independently troubled me. My mother, too, grappled with confusion over my father's sudden condition. Contemplating the situation, I felt a sense of responsibility and a desire to give back. Reassuring my father, I pledged to support the family from that point onward. He expressed surprise, doubting my income's adequacy, but I confidently showed him my stable financial situation. Grasping the reality, my father, who had always understood my circumstances, was taken aback by my newfound stability. Encouraged by his understanding, I offered to help with household expenses, medical bills, and other financial obligations. Each month, I transferred a certain amount to my father's bank account, shouldering a significant part of the financial burden. As my mother had been using my father's credit card, I created a new main card and provided her with a supplementary card. My father, mindful of saving money, urged my mother to follow suit. In response, my mother questioned whether I should be asked to leave the house. I pointed out my financial contributions and emphasized that it would be more challenging without my support. Skeptical, my mother remained unconvinced and suspicious of my assistance. It took my father's persuasion to finally gain her agreement, allowing me to continue living with them. Continuing my work and household responsibilities, I found my mother increasingly taking my assistance for granted. Her strictness intensified with constant remarks about the speed of my chores. "Can't you finish your chores faster?" she would complain. I explained the challenge of multitasking while working, but she dismissed my concerns. The strain on my relationship with her became apparent, and it seemed irreparable. In contrast, my father, understanding my efforts, provided much-needed support. Despite this strained dynamic, we persevered in this manner for a year. After a year, my father's health took a sudden downturn, requiring hospitalization. Visiting him daily, I shared moments of concern and reassurance. Aware of the strain on me, my father expressed gratitude, acknowledging the difficulties in my relationship with my mother. As my father grappled with health issues, the already strained relationship between my mother and me deteriorated further. Despite feeling suffocated at times, I remained committed to supporting my family. Recollections of my mother's past efforts, especially during my student days, kept me steadfast in this commitment. However, a significant shift occurred when my mother welcomed my brother Kevin and his wife Mary. Their unexpected arrival brought an abrupt change to my living situation. My brother explained their decision, stating they would be living in the house from now on to ease the burden on me. I was taken aback, and my mother seemed to avoid eye contact. While my brother and his wife claimed their intention was to support me, a hidden meaning lingered in their words. My mother, expressing gratitude, subtly hinted at my need to contribute more to the household. Despite the surprise, I learned that my brother, a graduate of a prestigious college, had joined a reputable company. The unexpected turn in events left me questioning the true motives behind my brother and his wife's presence in our home. Certainly, he must have been earning a substantial salary, but I too was diligently pursuing my own endeavors. I wonder if they could manage without my contributions. Transitioning into a new life at home with my brother and his wife proved to be more demanding than anticipated. "Wake up, Perry, make breakfast," my brother's wife hollered, banging on my door. Fully awake and already engrossed in my work as a morning person, I explained that I was already up and working. Despite my work commitments, they insisted that I prepare breakfast. "Get on with it and get breakfast ready," she demanded. I reluctantly forced myself to assist, considering our family's usual morning freedom. Typically, we enjoyed meals at our own pace, especially when my mother and brother's wife were present. I presumed it was customary for the wife to prepare breakfast for her husband. However, my sister-in-law insisted on cooperation, and I reluctantly joined them in the kitchen. Despite my efforts, their dissatisfaction was evident. "Is this what you prepared for breakfast?" "This isn't enough," they complained. I had meticulously crafted a breakfast plate featuring soft scrambled eggs, a refreshing lettuce salad, fresh buttered toast, and a succulent sausage, thinking it would be well received. However, it seemed I had missed something. "You don't have to eat it," I retorted, but their surprise was palpable. Their reaction turned confrontational, questioning my attitude and who I thought I was. My brother, often condescending, mocked me, likely influenced by our mother. Despite explaining my work commitments, they dismissed it. "What kind of work is that? Are you crazy?" they exclaimed. Frustrated by their lack of understanding and the impact on my work, I packed my laptop, ignored their protests, and left the house. As I departed, my brother's voice echoed in the background, demanding to know where I was going. Ignoring the question, I proceeded to my father's hospital room. Hurrying in, his surprised gaze met mine. "Carrie, what's wrong?" "You seem flustered," he observed. I recounted the recent incident, and my father, wearing a surprised expression, responded, "I didn't know they were. I'm sorry, Carrie. Don't worry about it. You can choose your own way of life." Feeling lost, I expressed concern that my mother might feel more comfortable if my brother Kevin were at home. However, my father reassured me, "You don't need to be in a place where you don't feel comfortable. All I want is for you to live happily. Live your life the way you want to live." Encouraged by my father's words, I decided to leave home. Upon returning that evening, I encountered a tense scene resembling a movie. The serious faces of my mother, brother, and sister-in-law greeted me. My brother accused me of not being at work, forcing him to take the day off. Inwardly, I questioned the responsibility of easily taking time off work. Their voices escalated, culminating in my brother demanding, "Get out of here. From now on, the three of us will live together. If you don't want to stay, please leave. We don't need an overbearing presence like you to support us." It was a shocking statement, and I replied in surprise. Ignoring my protests, my brother and his wife insisted on my departure, declaring that I was no longer needed. In the absence of our father, my mother, aligning with their sentiments, regarded me as a hindrance. The frustration intensified as they dismissed my involvement in the family's finances and prioritized their own concerns. Enraged by their insensitivity, I devised a plan. Initially, I transferred the money linked to the credit card my mother used daily to another account under my management. This subtle move aimed to surprise my mother when she could no longer access her credit card. I initiated a money transfer from my father's account, a crucial pillar supporting the family's financial stability. However, I ensured that only my father's medical expenses could be withdrawn from this separate account, unbeknownst to my mother. Consequently, a significant financial burden now rested on my brother and his wife. Though unaware of the intricate details of my brother's income, I was certain that he would feel the weight more than ever. After completing the necessary formalities, I gathered my belongings and declared my departure, saying, "I'm leaving this place." To my surprise, my mother, brother, and sister-in-law, who had been relentlessly harassing me, looked taken aback. Their astonishment revealed that they hadn't anticipated my decisive action. Although from the expressions on their faces, it seemed they were secretly enjoying the moment. As I announced my departure, they belittled me, expressing their relief. "You're finally leaving. We've never dealt with such a troublesome person. You're not coming back, are you?" In response, I asserted, "Of course not. Don't contact me." They smiled as I left the house, but I couldn't help but wonder what they would think after I had left. Embarking on a new life in a tranquil environment, I found solace and the freedom to enjoy my own time. Refreshed and focused, I immersed myself in my work. However, as expected, a call from my brother disrupted the peace. "I told you not to contact me. What's wrong?" I questioned. His voice conveyed surprise and urgency as he inquired about my involvement in the family's financial transactions. Confirming my role, I reminded him that I had mentioned my work several times, but neither he nor our mother had believed me. Expressing confusion, he admitted, "Well, Mom said a lot of things, and I was a little confused." Refusing to acknowledge that it wasn't my fault, he revealed a financial predicament. With my absence, they struggled to manage expenses, and my mother's spending had exacerbated the situation. Though sympathetic, I asserted, "I was able to support you in many ways because I was at home. I'm not there anymore, so you have to handle it, Carrie." I found myself in an unexpected situation when my brother urgently requested assistance in transferring money to his bank account. Perplexed, I asked if he was joking, given that he worked for a sizable company. However, to my surprise, my brother confessed that he had been fired from his job due to a significant mistake. His revelation left me speechless, and I realized that he might have returned to our parents' house assuming there was enough money available. Perhaps he relied on the notion of a stable pension following our father's retirement. Wanting to enlighten my brother about my financial contributions to the household, I found amusement in the thought of his astonishment upon learning the truth. His wife and my mother joined the plea for financial aid, claiming they were on the verge of running out of savings. My mother even revealed that my father refused to contribute to household finances any longer. In response, I firmly declared that I had supported them enough, urging them to work hard and support themselves. I severed communication, emphasizing my decision to distance myself from their financial struggles. My father, recognizing the strain in his relationship with my mother, consulted a lawyer and opted for a quieter life in a different place. While I continued to visit my father daily, a friend shared my brother's recent struggles. He had moved into a modest apartment, leading a frugal life. My mother, once a homemaker, faced challenges in her sudden job, while my brother found it difficult to adapt to the opinions of his cyber colleagues. Despite his wife's efforts, she succumbed to the pressure and departed, leaving my brother and mother to navigate their challenges together. Concerns lingered for my mother, who maintained her habit of overspending, accumulating debts. However, I recognized my limitations in offering assistance. Focused on my own endeavors, I worked diligently in a comfortable living space, gradually accessing more resources. Contemplating new ventures, I aimed to spend quality time with my cheerful father, appreciating every moment with him.
Hi, everyone. I'm Emily, a 28-year-old marketing specialist. I just returned from 2 years working abroad in London. Stepping into my childhood home after all that time felt off. The warm, familiar scent of mom's cooking was gone, replaced by something I couldn't quite place: control. Lillian, my younger sister, had somehow assumed the role of house manager while I was away. "You can't eat that, Mom. It's not good for your heart." Lillian's voice echoed from the kitchen. "I've prepared a special meal just for you," she continued as I quietly stood in the doorway. "But honey, I'm craving my usual breakfast," Mom replied weakly. "Remember what the doctor said?" Lillian insisted, setting down a bowl of oatmeal in front of Mom while tucking away the fresh groceries I'd glimpsed earlier. Some things never change, I thought. Lillian had always had to be in charge, just like when we were kids. "Emily, when did you get in?" Mom's face lit up, and she tried to rise for a hug. "Mom, sit down," Lillian scolded, pushing her gently back into the chair. "You need to stay calm. No excitement, it's bad for your heart." Ignoring her, I leaned in to hug Mom anyway. "The doctor said mild arrhythmia, Lillian. She's not made of glass." A flood of childhood memories washed over me. Lillian dictating what games we'd play, which TV shows we'd watch, always getting her way. "Emily, don't upset your sister," was the constant refrain growing up. Now she was taking her bossy streak to a whole new level. "Hey babe, I brought those supplements you asked for." A tall guy walked in, Kevin, Lillian's boyfriend. He seemed nice enough but looked uncomfortable as Lillian snatched the bag from his hands. "Thanks. These are perfect for Mom's new diet plan," she said with a smirk. As she spoke, I noticed her discreetly slipping a pack of premium chocolate bars into her purse. Later that afternoon, I sat at the dining table, reviewing household bills scattered across it. "Lillian, why are there so many withdrawals from Mom and Dad's account?" I asked, holding up a bank statement. "I'm managing their finances now," she replied flatly. "They can't handle the stress of bills anymore." Snatching the papers from my hands, she added, "Besides, what would you know? You've been gone for 2 years." That evening, I met up with Maria, my old high school friend, at a local cafe. By some stroke of luck, she now worked at the same marketing firm where I'd just been hired. "Girl, I can't believe Lillian's turned herself into some kind of house dictator," Maria said, stirring her coffee. When your mom mentioned her heart issues, Lillian swooped in like some self-appointed savior. "She's always been controlling," I sighed. "But this feels worse." "Did you know she's handling their money now?" Maria raised an eyebrow. "That's not good. Remember how she handled the student council funds in high school? They had to audit everything after she graduated." I nodded, remembering a sharp pang in my chest. "And now she's convinced Mom and Dad she's their guardian angel. Mom can't even make tea without her approval." "Just be careful," Maria warned. "Lillian has a way of flipping things around when you call her out." "I know," I said, staring into my coffee, "but I'm not the same person I was 2 years ago. I'm going to do something about this before it gets worse." The next morning, Lillian's authoritarian streak escalated. "The kitchen is off limits after 7 p.m., she announced, installing a padlock on the refrigerator. "And Mom, breakfast is only between 8 o'clock and 8:30. "But I get hungry at night," Dad protested. "Then eat more during your designated meal times," Lillian snapped, her tone brooking no argument. Later that day, while combing through Mom and Dad's bank statements, I spotted something alarming: a monthly $2,000 charge labeled household management fee. "What's this?" I demanded, confronting Lillian. "That's for my services," she said coolly. "Running this house isn't free, Emily. Not everyone gets to abandon their family to party in London." "Party?" I shot back. "I was working." "Watch your tone," she hissed. "Wouldn't want Mom to hear about your college drinking escapades. Her heart might not handle it." By midweek, I found Dad in his study, looking troubled over a stack of business papers. "Everything okay?" I asked. "The business is struggling," he admitted, his brow furrowed. "But something's not adding up. The numbers don't make sense." Lillian's been helping with the bookkeeping. "But Dad, let me help. I can look at the accounts," I pleaded. Before Dad could respond, Lillian burst into the room. "Absolutely not. Dad's under enough stress. I'm handling everything." Later, when I tried to transfer money to help with bills, Lillian convinced them to reject it. "We don't need your guilty conscience money," she snapped. One evening, I overheard Lillian berating Kevin in the backyard. "You're useless. Can't even back me up when Emily questions things." "Maybe she has a point about the kitchen rules," Kevin began cautiously. "Shut up. You know nothing about family dynamics," Lillian shot back, her voice cold and cutting. Kevin must have noticed me watching because he looked away quickly when Lillian cornered me in the hallway later. "Stay out of my business, or I'll make sure Mom and Dad see you for the ungrateful child you are." Aunt Rachel's visit couldn't have come at a better time. Over dinner, Lillian refused to let Mom have a second helping. "Since when do you control your mother's portions?" Aunt Rachel asked, eyebrows raised. "Since I became responsible for this family's well-being," Lillian replied smugly, unlike some people who just criticize. Later, Aunt Rachel pulled me aside. "Something's not right here, Emily. Your mother seems afraid to speak." "I know," I whispered. "Lillian's taken over everything." When Lillian went out with Kevin the next day, I snuck into Dad's office. Scanning recent business records, my heart sank. I found multiple unauthorized transfers to Lillian's personal account. "Look at these transactions," I said, showing Aunt Rachel. "She's been stealing from Dad's business," Aunt Rachel said, frowning. "That explains the new designer bags. But Emily, be careful. Lillian's telling relatives you're mentally unstable from your time abroad. She's saying you're jealous and trying to destroy the family." "Of course she is," I muttered. "She's laying the groundwork in case I expose her. She's even called your cousin, crying, saying you've had violent outbursts." "Violent outbursts?" I laughed bitterly. "I've barely raised my voice." "I believe you," Aunt Rachel said. "But Lillian's playing a dangerous game. She's got your parents convinced only she can take care of them." "She's not taking care of them," I said, gripping the evidence. "She's controlling them. And now I can prove it." That evening, Kevin caught me outside work. "We need to talk," he said. "Lillian's not what you think. I found something on her laptop, documents from her old jobs. She's done this before." "Done what?" I asked, my stomach nodding. "Financial fraud. She was fired from Jefferson Marketing for stealing client funds. Then from Citibank for manipulating accounts, even a tech company before that. She always targets people who trust her." I showed him my documentation. "Like these transfers from Dad's business?" "Exactly, but there's more. She's planning something bigger. I overheard her talking about getting your parents to sign over the house." Aunt Rachel and I met with one of Lillian's former coworkers, Jenny. Over coffee, Jenny recounted her experience. "She seemed so helpful at first," Jenny said, shaking her head. "Offered to manage the office finances. By the time we discovered the missing money, she'd already moved on." At home, I noticed Lillian rushing to hide papers when I entered her room. Later, while she was showering, I found her diary tucked under the mattress. My hands shook as I read her words. "Once the house is in my name, we can discuss assisted living options for Mom. Dad will be easier to handle once she's gone." I shared what I found with Aunt Rachel. "She's not just controlling them, she's planning to get rid of them." "We need to act now," Aunt Rachel said, gathering bank statements. "This pattern is clear. She's been siphonning money for years." That evening, everything came to a head. Dad clutched his chest, reaching for his medication. "You can't take those now," Lillian shouted, blocking the cabinet. "It's not time." "I need them," Dad gasped. "Give him the pills, Lillian," I demanded, moving toward the cabinet. "Stay back. You don't understand his condition." "Stop it, Lillian. I saw your diary. I know everything." Her face went pale. "You went through my things." "Like you went through Dad's business accounts, or those 3 jobs he got fired from." Kevin stepped out from the hallway. "It's over, Lillian. I found all the evidence on your laptop." "You went through my computer," she hissed. "How dare you?" "I had to," Kevin said. "The transfers, the fraud, the plans for your parents, it's disgusting. You don't understand. I deserve this. I'm the one taking care of them." "No," Kevin said firmly. "You're exploiting them. We're done. And if you try anything, everything goes public." "You can't prove anything," Lillian snarled. "Actually, we can." I held up my phone. "Jenny had a lot to say, and we got your diary, the bank records, and the emails." Lillian lunged for my phone, but Kevin blocked her. "It's over, Lillian." Kevin headed for the door. Emily, I'll email you everything I found. Lillian, don't contact me again. Lillian's carefully constructed world crumbled as she stood there, shaking with rage. You'll regret this, she hissed. The dining table was littered with evidence as Aunt Rachel stood beside me for support. But she's been taking care of us, Mom said, her voice trembling. No, I said gently. She's been controlling you. Look at these nursing home applications she filled out. And these. I handed Dad the documents. They're the papers to transfer the house into her name. Dad's face turned ashen as he reviewed the business accounts. All those missing funds. Before we could process the shock, the doorbell rang. A detective stood on the porch, flanked by one of Lillian's former employers. We're investigating allegations of financial exploitation, the detective said. Just then, Lillian burst through the door, her face a mask of indignation. What's going on? Miss Thompson, the detective said, stepping forward. We have statements from multiple victims of your financial fraud schemes. As the days passed, more people came forward. The tech company pressed charges. The bank launched its own investigation. Former clients shared their harrowing experiences. I trusted her with everything, one elderly client sobbed to a detective. She stole my life savings. Mom and Dad took immediate action. They canceled Lillian's access to all accounts, changed the locks, and began restoring their independence. Mom came to a painful realization. My heart condition. It was never as serious as she made it seem, was it? No, Mom, I said, holding her hand. She used it to control you. 3 months later, Lillian stood in our driveway, tears streaming down her face. Please, I've changed. I'll get help. I'll pay everything back. You can pay it back from jail, I said, closing the door firmly. Under proper management, Dad's business recovered. Mom began cooking her favorite recipes again, filling the house with the comforting sense of our childhood. Meanwhile, I thrived at work and earned a promotion. For the first time in years, our lives felt peaceful. Last week, a tear-stained letter arrived from Lillian. I'm your sister. Family forgives. I threw it away unopened. She's requesting a family visit. Aunt Rachel mentioned during Sunday dinner. Mom shook her head firmly, serving an extra portion of dessert, something Lillian would never have allowed. Some things can't be forgiven, she said. She chose control over family. Now she can live with those consequences. The last I heard, Lillian faced additional charges. Meanwhile, I focused on building a life surrounded by genuine love and trust. Sometimes, family isn't defined by blood but by who earns your trust and respect. And as for forgiveness, not everyone deserves it. Cutting off toxic people isn't harsh, it's necessary for healing. If you were in my position, would you have exposed Lillian the moment you discovered the first signs of financial abuse? Or would you have tried to handle it privately within the family? Was I too harsh in gathering evidence secretly before confronting her? Some say family loyalty should come first, while others argue that protecting vulnerable loved ones is more important than keeping family secrets. What would you have done? Hey everyone, I'm Angela Williams. Ever wondered what it's like to own a mansion, only to be treated like a servant in it? That's my life. But trust me, things are about to get very interesting. Living in a sprawling Victorian mansion on Martha's Vineyard sounds like a dream, right? Except when you're secretly funding your family's lavish lifestyle and getting treated like yesterday's trash in return. At 27, I'm a successful real estate agent by day and an invisible daughter by night. Angela, didn't I tell you to use the service entrance? We have guests coming. My mother, Eleanor, snaps from the grand staircase. This is her new favorite refrain since marrying Richard 3 years ago. The same mother who used to cuddle me during thunderstorms, now acting like I'm unworthy of stepping into her precious foyer. But Mom, I bite my tongue. She doesn't know. None of them do. My grandfather left me everything. The mansion, the properties, the fortune, all in secret. He knew how money changes people, and looking at her now, he wasn't wrong. Darling, is Marcus joining us for dinner tonight? Richard's smooth voice slithers into the room as he adjusts his Rolex, probably bought with my money. He's been asking about you, he adds, flashing a smile that makes my skin crawl. I'm not interested in your business partner, Richard. Watch your tone, young lady, my mother snaps. Behind her, my stepsister Madison smirks from behind her phone. OMG, Angela, she snickers. Not everyone can marry to money like Mom. Some of us have to settle. Her fake sympathy makes me want to scream, if she only knew. Later in the kitchen, Sarah, our housekeeper, who feels more like family than anyone else here, slips me a coffee. Your grandfather would be proud of how you're handling this, honey. But are you sure you want to keep paying for their lifestyle? Just a little longer, Sarah. Everything's about to change. My phone buzzes. It's James, my best friend since third grade. Angela, you won't believe what I found about Richard's business dealings. Tell me over lunch tomorrow. Usual spot. Sure, but your family won't approve of you meeting me at a diner, he jokes. Good thing I stopped caring about their approval around the same time Mom started caring more about Richard's social calendar than me, I reply. Madison saunters into the kitchen, still glued to her phone. Still hanging out with that nobody James. You know, Marcus asked about your schedule. Maybe I'll tell him you're free Friday. Back off, Madison. I mean it. Or what? You'll tattle to Mommy, please. She barely remembers you exist as Daddy came along. I grip the counter, feeling the weight of the property deeds hidden upstairs. Soon, they'll all know exactly who they've been stepping on. But for now, I plaster on a fake smile and retreat to my room. As I pass the family portrait in the hall, I notice the arrangement, Mom standing tall with Richard and Madison, while I'm shoved into the corner like an afterthought. My phone lights up with another text from James, ready to show them who really owns their precious lifestyle. Not yet, I reply, but soon, very soon. Little do they know their perfect world is on the brink of collapse, and I'll be watching from the top floor of the mansion when it does. Later, the sound of the slap echoed through the kitchen, my cheek stinging from Mom's diamond-clad hand. How dare you bring that nobody into my house? She hissed. James stood frozen in the doorway, breakfast forgotten. It's 7 a.m., Eleanor, he said calmly. Angela lives here too. Not for long if she keeps disrespecting this family's standards, she spat, grabbing my arm, her manicured nails digging into my skin. Marcus has been asking about you, Angela, and instead of pursuing a respectable relationship, you're entertaining this. This what, Mom? A friend who actually cares about me? Her glare burned through me as she stormed out. That evening, Madison's poison spread through our social circle like wildfire. While I reviewed property documents in my room, Richard barged in unannounced. We need to discuss your future, he declared. What future? I asked, keeping my tone neutral. Marcus is prepared to offer you a position in the merged company. After the wedding. What wedding? Don't play coy. It's time you contributed to this family. The merger with Marcus's firm could save our financial situation. Financial situation? That caught my attention. As Richard rambled about arrangements, I spotted a bank statement peeking from his pocket. When he left, I texted James, "Need your hacking skills. Something's wrong with Mom's trust fund." James called back immediately. Angela, you need to see this. Richard's been draining Eleanor's accounts, offshore holdings, fake companies. She's about to lose everything. Everything she thinks she has. I whispered, touching my bruised cheek. Help me nail him, James. But before we could act, Mom burst into my room, fury etched on her face. You've been snooping into our finances? She shrieked, ripping through my closet like a woman possessed. Ungrateful little witch. After everything we've done for you. Everything you've done. Like replacing my father with a calm man. Like letting Madison spread lies about me. Your father was weak, he snapped. Richard gives us class, status, everything you're too pathetic to appreciate. She grabbed my laptop, her grip unrelenting, and raised it as if to smash it against the wall. Mom, stop. I cried, panic lacing my voice. Why? So you can keep conspiring with James, planning to ruin my marriage? She swung the laptop toward the wall, but Sarah rushed in just in time, catching it midair. Mrs. Williams, the guests are arriving for dinner, Sarah said firmly, her tone calm but commanding. Mom froze, her expression shifting instantly to her perfect society smile. We'll finish this discussion later, she said, smoothing her hair as if nothing had happened. She strode downstairs, ready to play the perfect hostess, leaving me amidst the wreckage of my shredded clothes. I sank to the floor, hands trembling, and texted James, "Get everything you have on Richard. It's time." Sarah knelt beside me, her voice a soft whisper. Your grandfather's study. There's something in the safe you need to see. I nodded, standing on shaky legs. In the mirror, Mom's handprint was still visible on my cheek, a cruel reminder of the price I pay for speaking the truth. Sometimes the deepest wounds come from the people who should love us most. But tonight, that changes. Tonight, I stop being the victim in my own home. At midnight, the door to my room crashed open. Mom stood in the doorway, trembling, clutching my grandfather's property papers in her manicured hands. "What is this?" she demanded, her voice cracking. "What is this?" "Careful with those, Mother," I said coolly. "They're worth more than your entire wardrobe." Richard appeared behind her, his face red with fury. "You little liar, all this time, all this time." "What, Richard?" I snapped. "While you were draining Mom's trust fund? While you were pushing me to marry Marcus to save your pathetic business?" Madison stormed in, phone in hand, ready to record the drama. "Daddy, what's happening?" "What's happening?" I said, my voice steady, "is that your precious daddy married Mom thinking she was the heir to my grandfather's fortune. But surprise, I own everything. The mansion, the properties, the money. All of it." "That's impossible." Mom's voice broke. "Dad would never." "Never what?" "Protect his assets from a daughter who abandoned her child for status. He watched you change, Mom. Watched you choose Richard and Madison over me. So he made sure his fortune went to someone who actually cared about family, not social climbing." Richard lunged toward me, but a firm hand caught his shoulder. Marcus stepped into the room, James right behind him. "I wouldn't do that, Richard," Marcus said coldly. "The FBI tends to frown on assaulting people while under investigation for fraud." Madison's phone clattered to the floor. "What investigation?" she whispered. James pulled out his laptop, his expression deadly calm. "Show them, Marcus." "With pleasure," Marcus replied. "You see, Richard, while you were busy trying to force a merger through Angela, you didn't realize I was working with a forensic accounting team. We have everything: the embezzlement, the offshore accounts, even Madison's little sabotage campaign against Angela's real estate firm." Richard's face turned purple with rage. You were working with them," he spat, pointing at me. "No, Richard," I said with icy clarity. "They were working for me. This is my house. Remember?" Mom collapsed into a chair, tears streaming down her face. "Angela, baby, I'm so sorry. I remember when you were little how we used to bake cookies in the kitchen. Remember? We can fix this. Start over. Like you tried to fix my face this morning, or my reputation last week. Save your Oscar performance, Mom. I've watched you choose them over me for 3 years. But I'm your mother," she cried. "No," I said, my voice unwavering. "A mother protects her child. A mother loves unconditionally. You're just another social climber who got played at her own game." Richard made a dash for the door, but security guards were waiting. Marcus nodded to the officers. "Mr. Thompson, you're under arrest for financial fraud and embezzlement," one of them said. As they led Richard away, Madison screamed, "This is all your fault. I'll tell everyone what you did." "Go ahead," I said calmly. "Tell them how you sabotaged your stepsister while living in her house, spending her money. I'm sure the country club will love that story." Mom reached for my hand one last time, her voice trembling. "Please, Angela, I can change. We can be a family again." I looked down at her tear-streaked face, remembering every slap, every insult, every betrayal. "You're right, Mom," I said softly. "Things are going to change, starting with your living arrangements. Get out of my house. All of you." James put his arm around my shoulders as they left, Madison's sobs echoing down the hallway. "You okay?" I touched the property papers, my grandfather's final gift of protection. "I am now. I finally am." The morning my family moved out was eerily quiet, the sound of expensive luggage scraping across marble floors the only echo in the mansion. Richard faced years in prison, not just for defrauding me, but for a string of other scams Marcus had spent years uncovering. "Your father's files just came in from the FBI," James said, dropping a thick folder on my desk. "Marcus built this case for years. He just needed the right moment." Sarah, now the hotel manager, brought in coffee, her crisp uniform a badge of her fresh start. Madison's once envied social circle had collapsed entirely. People don't take kindly to discovering their friend lived off her stepsister's generosity while spreading lies about her. A headline on my tablet caught my eye. "Former socialite Eleanor William now serving at local diner." The same diner where she had thrown wine at a server last Christmas. Karma has impeccable timing. The mansion's transformation into the William Heritage Hotel was my first real victory. The kitchen where Mom had slapped me now housed a 5-star restaurant. Each renovation felt like reclaiming another piece of myself. Mom tried one last time, showing up in her waitress uniform. "Please, Angela, we can start over," she begged, tears streaking her face. "No, Mom, you're not sorry, you're desperate." I handed her a debt repayment schedule. "You'll pay back every penny Richard stole. That's the only relationship we'll ever have now, strictly business." As security escorted her out, a weight I hadn't realized I was carrying lifted. The hotel exceeded all expectations. Sarah managed it with brilliance, and James handled the financial side with his usual expertise. My personal victory, though, came 3 months later. "Ready to see your new house?" James asked, dangling a set of keys. The modern beachfront property stood gleaming in the sunset, its floor-to-ceiling windows reflecting the golden light. Private beach access, open spaces, most importantly, no memories of abuse within its walls. The previous owner was asking $2 million, James mentioned as we walked through the airy living room. "Worth every penny," I said, stepping onto the balcony and breathing in the ocean air. To never see Mom's crocodile tears or Madison's smug sneer again. Sarah joined us later, a bottle of champagne in hand. We toasted in the bright, welcoming kitchen, raising our glasses. "To karma," she said. "To fresh starts," I added, watching the waves crash against the shore. My phone buzzed on the counter, a missed call from Mom. I didn't bother checking it. Some people don't deserve second chances. The next morning, the paper featured 2 stories: the soaring success of the William Heritage Hotel and Richard's extended sentence for additional fraud. I read both from my beach chair, the sound of waves lapping against the shore, finally at peace in a home that was truly mine. No toxic family, no manipulation. Just me and a life I built from the ashes they tried to bury me in. Hi everyone, I'm Eva, a nurse at Memorial Hospital. I've dedicated my life to helping others, but now I'm the one who needs support. Life wasn't always this messy. 5 years ago, when I married Derek, I thought I found my soulmate. He was charming, successful, and made me feel like I was his world. But that dream didn't last long, especially once his sister, Rita, became a constant presence. "You're skipping dinner again?" "That's the 3rd time this month," I said, leaning against the kitchen counter as Derek grabbed his keys. "Rita needs help setting up her new TV. You know she's hopeless with tech," he replied casually. "She's 38, not 80. There's YouTube for that." "Don't start, Vic. She's family." That's how it always went. Rita called, and Derek dropped everything. Last week, it was curtains during my birthday dinner. The week before, an entire Sunday spent rearranging her furniture. "I don't think this is right," Eva, Marina, my best friend, said during a lunch break at the hospital. "Derek barely lets you see your family anymore. He says they're too critical of our relationship," I muttered. "Because they see what's happening," James, my coworker, added, flipping through patient charts. "Remember when he made you skip your sister's baby shower because Rita had a dating crisis? And it wasn't just Rita. His mother, Jane, was in on it too. Rita just needs her brother, dear. You should be more understanding," Jane said at dinner one night, handing me a bowl of potatoes. "That was 3 years ago," I said, my patience wearing thin. "Family comes first, Eva," Jane replied, while Rita smirked, clinging to Derek's arm. "Right, baby brother." Later that night, as Derek spent hours on the phone with Rita, I tried to suggest visiting my parents. "Your mom always gives Rita these looks," he said dismissively. "I don't like how your family treats her." "They treat her the way she treats me," I shot back. "There you go again, jealous of my sister. She needs me." Standing in front of the bedroom mirror, I barely recognized myself. The spark in my eyes was gone, replaced by exhaustion. Marina's earlier words echoed. "You're becoming a ghost of yourself." Now, as I sit at the nurse's station during my night shift, I watch Derek's phone light up with yet another text from Rita, some emergency about a garbage disposal. I used to believe marriage meant being someone's priority. In Derek's world, it's a competition with his sister, and I'm always losing. "You know this isn't normal, right?" James said quietly, dropping a patient file on my desk. I nodded slowly, realizing he was right. But admitting that meant facing the cracks in my marriage, and I wasn't sure I was ready. Hours later, driving home through a downpour, my thoughts spiraled as fast as the rain blurred my windshield. Then it happened. A truck veered into my lane. My car spun violently, crashing into the guardrail. "Derek, please pick up," I begged, leaving yet another voicemail. My ribs throbbed and my hands trembled. 911. "What's your emergency?" "I'm on Highway 27 near exit 43. Please hurry," I gasped. As I waited for the ambulance, tears blurred my vision. Derek's voice now greeted me every time I called. Desperate, I texted Marina. "Eva, I'm on my way," she replied immediately, her voice cracking when she called me back. 4 hours later, lying in a hospital bed with a concussion and 3 broken ribs, I finally got a text from Derek. "Sorry, helping Rita move her bedroom set." "What's up? What's up? What's up?" James was checking my vitals when Derek finally arrived, 5 hours after the accident. "Baby, I'm so sorry," he said, his voice dripping with guilt. "Rita really needed help with the move. You know how her back gets." "I could have died, Derek." "Don't be so dramatic. The doctor said you'll be fine." "I got here faster than you, and I was in Boston on business," Marina interrupted, her phone discreetly recording everything. Moments later, Rita burst into the room, her dramatic entrance making the moment about herself. "Oh my God, Derek, I feel terrible." "If I'd known Eva was hurt, I would have let you check your phone," she exclaimed. "I've been so stressed about this move. I'm probably going to need anxiety medication now." "It's okay, sis. Eva's fine," Derek assured her. "Just a few bruises, broken ribs, and a concussion." "Actually," James interjected, making notes on my chart, "those injuries are quite serious." "See, she's in good hands," Derek replied dismissively, turning his full attention back to Rita. "So, about that living room set." I lay there in pain, helpless and watching. Marina squeezed my hand and subtly showed me her phone. "I've been documenting everything for when you're ready," she whispered. "This isn't love, honey." That night, as I drifted in and out of consciousness, I overheard Derek in the hallway. "No, Rita, of course I'm not mad at you." "Yes, I can help you arrange the furniture tomorrow." "Eva?" "The doctors say she's fine. Just being dramatic, as usual." When James came in to check on me during his shift change, he leaned in close. "I've documented everything in your medical records, the delayed emergency contact response, the timestamps, everything." Marina's got it all recorded, too. For the first time, something inside me hardened. When Marina visited the next day, I asked her to bring me a voice-activated recorder. "Bring it tomorrow," I whispered. "I'm done being the understanding wife." As I recovered at home, I started combing through our financial records. The first red flag was the joint account, thousands of dollars missing every month. A pattern emerged: Rita's car payments, Rita's rent, Rita's emergency fund. "Hey, babe, what's this $5,000 transfer to Rita last week?" I asked casually over dinner. "Oh, she needed help with some bills. You know how tough things are for her." "Tough enough to need $45,000 this year alone." "You're counting my money now. Real nice, Eva." That night, I called Marina. "You won't believe what I found." "Girl, I've got something too," Marina said. "Remember Lisa from Derek's office? She told me Rita did the same thing with Derek's ex-fiancée, Jennifer. Convinced him Jennifer was cheating, she wasn't. Let me guess. Rita made it all up." "Exactly. She's been playing this game for years." The next day, James introduced me to his sister Rachel. "I'm a divorce attorney," Rachel said, sliding her card across the table. James told me everything. "Keep that recorder running." And I did. Every dismissive comment, every questionable financial decision, every gaslighting conversation. The recordings revealed everything. "I don't know why you're making such a big deal about the accident," Derek's voice played back. "Rita needed me." At a family dinner, Rita sneered, "My brother deserves so much better. Ava's just not family material." The worst came from our neighbor Amy. "Derek told everyone at the block party that you're unstable, that you make up emergencies for attention." Marina helped me set up a hidden email account to store everything: photos of bank statements, text messages, and recordings. I even captured Derek and Rita laughing about my accident. "She always exaggerates," Derek chuckled. "Probably barely a fender bender," Rita added, her voice dripping with contempt. I played the perfect wife while collecting evidence. Of course, Rita can borrow more money, honey, I'd say with a smile. But behind the scenes, I was building my case. This is a clear pattern of emotional and financial abuse, Rachel said during one of our secret lunch meetings. The recordings of him downplaying your accident? Gold. How much longer do I need to pretend? I asked. Just a little more. We're building an airtight case. That night, Derek skipped dinner again. Rita needed help picking paint colors. I kissed him goodbye and smiled. Take all the time you need, I said sweetly. Little did he know, every word, every missing dollar, every moment he chose Rita over me was another nail in the coffin of our marriage. The perfect wife was keeping perfect records. I waited until Derek left for another one of Rita's emergencies before making my move. The divorce papers were ready, my new apartment secured, and every piece of evidence safely stored in multiple locations. You've been served. The process server caught Derek at his office. His panic calls started immediately. What is this? Are you crazy? Check your email, I replied calmly. I've documented everything. That same week, Rita's perfectly orchestrated world began to crumble. Someone tipped off the IRS about her years of unreported income. Those endless loans from Derek? Turns out she'd been running a small business under the table, dodging taxes along the way. Did you know about this? Derek screamed into the phone. They're auditing me because of Rita. As if that wasn't enough, his company launched its own investigation. They discovered Derek had been embezzling funds to support Rita's lavish lifestyle. Watching him being escorted out of his office, humiliated and defeated, was surreal. Divorce court was a masterpiece. My lawyer presented everything: the recordings, financial records, and medical documents from the accident. Mr. Thompson, can you explain why you gave your sister $45,000 while your wife was in the hospital? Derek couldn't explain. He couldn't explain anything. 2 years later, I'm sitting in my office, the name Eva Thompson, head nurse, proudly displayed on the door. Life looks very different now. Rita is serving 3 years for tax evasion and fraud. Derek, he lost his job, his reputation, and most of his money to Rita's legal fees. Last week, he showed up at the hospital. Eva, please, he begged. I've changed. Rita's in prison. I've lost everything. I need you. Like I needed you when I was lying in a ditch after that accident. I asked, my voice cold. That was different. No, it wasn't. Goodbye, Derek. I watched him shuffle away, broken and alone. Meanwhile, I'm thriving. I've got a Caribbean cruise booked next month, a promotion on the horizon, and friends who have my back. Marina and I had lunch yesterday. Remember when you thought you couldn't live without him? She said, laughing. Now I can't imagine living with him, I replied. The karma train hit the Thompson siblings hard. Rita writes to Derek, begging for commissary money he doesn't have. Their mother had to sell her house to cover legal fees. And me? I'm flourishing. Sometimes, the best revenge is living well and watching karma do its thing. To anyone stuck in a toxic relationship, document everything, know your worth, and don't be afraid to walk away. The view is much better on the other side. Another donation to the domestic violence shelter, James asked as he saw me writing a check. Yeah, I replied, smiling. Someone helped me get out. It's time to pay it forward. That's my story, from gaslighted wife to empowered survivor. Derek and Rita can keep their toxic family dynamic, behind bars, and broke. If you discovered your spouse prioritized their siblings' non-emergencies over your actual emergencies, what would you do? Would you try to fix the relationship first, or would you start planning your escape? Where would you draw the line? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If my story resonated with you, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more real-life stories about overcoming toxic relationships. Your support means everything. My name's Amy, a 24-year-old junior accountant from Chicago. On the surface, I'm just another young professional trying to make her way. Behind closed doors, I live a nightmare. My controlling mother, Sarah, and my 27-year-old unemployed brother, Mike, treat me like I'm the live-in maid. Every morning starts the same. 5:30 a.m., I'm up, making breakfast. Emmy, where's my coffee? 2 sugars, you know that. Mike's voice bellows from his room. I'm late for work, make it yourself. I snap, slamming a mug onto the counter. Mom, Amy's being disrespectful again. Within seconds, Mom storms into the kitchen, fury in her eyes. Amy, how many times do I have to tell you to take care of your brother? Make his coffee. Now. This is my reality. I work full-time, pay half the bills, and handle all the housework. Meanwhile, Mike lounges in his gaming chair all day, demanding attention. At work, my exhaustion doesn't go unnoticed. Girl, you look dead, my coworker Rachel says, eyeing me as I shuffle into the office. Rough morning. The usual. Mom made me remake Mike's coffee 3 times because it wasn't perfect enough. I mutter, sinking into my chair. Rachel shakes her head. You need to get out of there. A small kindness saves the day. David, another coworker, sets a cup of steaming coffee on my desk. Thought you might need this. Real coffee, not whatever your brother complains about, he says with a smirk. I smile, clutching the cup like a lifeline. They don't know about my secret savings account. I've been setting aside 30% of every paycheck. Just $55,000 more, and I'll be free. That night, everything boils over. Mike barges into my room, his entitled sneer in full display. Give me your car keys. I'm meeting friends. No way. I need my car for work tomorrow. It's not like your job is important. You're just a junior accountant. At least I have a job. I snap. His face turns crimson. Mom, Amy's disrespecting me again. Mom appears, arms crossed, ready for battle. Amy, give your brother the keys. No, I've had enough. I've been serving him since we were kids. You made me skip my high school graduation to cook for his gaming party. You gave him my college fund because he needed it more. Mom's expression hardens, her voice icy. I'm your mother. As long as you live under my roof. That I help pay for, I interject. Don't interrupt me, your brother is special. He needs support while he figures out his path. Now hand him the keys or start looking for somewhere else to live. I clutch my keys tighter, feeling years of suppressed anger rise to the surface. No, for once in my life, no. Mom's gaze turns glacial. Fine, then make your own dinner tonight. And don't touch anything in my kitchen. As they storm out, I sit in the suffocating silence, my phone screen lighting up. $15,000 saved. Just a little longer. I text Rachel. Start looking for those apartment listings. I'm done. But the power play escalates. The next morning, I find every cabinet in the kitchen locked with padlocks. Mom stands there, arms crossed. Until you apologize to your brother and give him your car, you won't be eating in this house. This is insane. I pay for half the groceries. Should have thought about that before disrespecting your brother, she snaps. 3 days pass. I survive on protein bars and snacks I've stashed in my desk at work. My hands shake as I type. During lunch, Rachel notices. Amy, when's the last time you ate a real meal? She whispers. Sunday, Mom locked the kitchen. Rachel's eyes widen. This is abuse. Before I can respond, my vision blurs. I grab the desk for support, but it's too late. David rushes over, catching me before I hit the ground. In the break room, they force me to eat a sandwich as I recount everything. When Dad died, his insurance was supposed to be split between Mike and me. Mom gave him my share because he needed it more. I had to drop 3 college classes to babysit his dog. It's always been like this. David's job tightens. You need evidence. This isn't normal. That night, Mike corners me in the hallway. I press record on my phone, the device hidden in my pocket. Listen here, you ungrateful. Mom should have thrown you out years ago. You're nothing. I'm not just a maid who pays bills. I'm Amy, the maid who's done being used. Get out of my way, Mike. I snap, trying to sidestep him in the hallway. Mom appears right on cue, arms crossed and seething. You will apologize to your brother right now, or you can pack your bags. I won't tolerate this disrespect in my house. Remember who took care of you after your father died. Took care of me. I glare at her, my voice trembling with fury. You stole my inheritance, made me drop out of college, and now you're starving me because I won't let your precious son take my car. Your brother deserves everything he has, she spits back. You're just jealous because he's special. Special? He's a 27-year-old leech. The slap cracks through the hallway. My cheek burns, but inside I'm smiling. I got it all on tape. Later, alone in my room, I play the recording back. My hands shake. But this time it's not from hunger, it's from resolve. Rachel was right. This isn't family, this is abuse. And now I have proof. I forward the recording to Rachel and David, then save it to my secret cloud drive. They want to break me. Fine. But they have no idea I'm already planning their downfall. Each threat, each insult, each slap, they're all evidence. And soon, very soon, they'll learn that karma is a force to be reckoned with. I found the perfect place. Rachel squeals during our lunch break. 2-bedroom apartment, safe neighborhood, and guess what? It's within your budget. David joins us grinning. And I've got even better news. Remember Tom from Johnson & Associates? They're hiring a senior accountant. Pays 40% more than what you're making now. Tears prick my eyes. You guys, my voice cracks with emotion. That night, while organizing Mom's bank statements for the bills, something catches my eye. Large withdrawals from her savings account. Thousands of dollars I never knew existed. Hey Mom, did you authorize these withdrawals? I ask, confronting her as she steps into the kitchen. Her face pales as she snatches the papers from my hand. What were you doing snooping through my accounts? I always handle the bills, remember? There's over $20,000 missing. Her eyes narrow. You've been stealing from me. What? No, I'd never. First you disrespect your brother, and now you're stealing. Get out of my sight. Later that night, while Mom's at her book club, I dig deeper into the accounts. Every trail leads to Mike. Multiple transfers to online gambling sites. Thousands gone. My phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number. Is this Amy? I'm Lisa, Mike's ex. I saw your post about looking for an apartment. We meet the next day at a coffee shop. Lisa's hands shake as she slides a folder across the table. Mike scammed me out of $115,000 last year, she says, her voice barely above a whisper. Said he was starting a business. He's done this to 3 other girls. I have proof, bank statements, texts, everything. Why are you telling me this? I ask. Because he's doing it again. I saw him with a new girl last week, using the same lines he used on me. Over the next week, I execute my escape plan. Each day while Mom's at her book club, I move small boxes to my new apartment. Rachel stores my important documents at her place. David helps me prep for my interview at Johnson & Associates. You're the perfect candidate, the hiring manager says. When can you start? That night, while copying files from Mom's computer, I stumble across years of damning evidence, emails about Mike's gambling, angry messages from scam victims, even screenshots of him bragging about stealing my inheritance. What are you doing? Mike's voice startles me. I swivel in my chair, keeping my expression neutral. Just getting the tax documents Mom asked for. Better not be snooping, sis. Would be a shame if Mom had to kick you out with nowhere to go. I smile sweetly. Don't worry, brother dear. Everything's exactly where it should be. In my room, I save all the files to my cloud drive. Mom's financial records showing Mike's theft, Lisa's evidence of his scams, recordings of their abuse, photos of the locked kitchen, my weight loss, and the bruise from Mom's slap. Rachel texts, apartment's ready when you are. David follows up, job offer coming tomorrow. Lisa updates, Mike's been arrested. Police found evidence of fraud against 5 women. They're investigating his gambling debts too. I glance around my childhood room, now nearly empty except for the furniture. They thought they were breaking me. Instead, they taught me how to be smarter, stronger, and more cunning. Are you sure you packed everything? Rachel asks, helping me load the last box into the moving truck. Everything that matters. Before we leave, I place a thick manila envelope on Mom's pristine dining table. Inside, evidence of Mike's theft, his fraud schemes, and screenshots of his gambling addiction. 2 days later, my phone explodes with notifications. You ungrateful witch. Where are you? How dare you abandon your family? Mom's voicemail screams. A text from Lisa makes me smile. Mike's been arrested. They've got enough to press charges. I sit at my new desk at Johnson & Associates when David rushes in. His face is pale. Your mom's house is crawling with police, he says. Apparently, the neighbors finally reported all the screaming they've heard. Something about an elder abuse investigation. Karma works in mysterious ways. I smile faintly and turn back to my spreadsheets. Months pass. Through Rachel, I hear the fallout. Mom lost the house. Turns out Mike had secretly remortgaged it for his gambling debts, using forged papers, with nowhere else to go. She's forced to move in with Aunt Janet. You can't just throw your mother away, Aunt Janet scolds over the phone one afternoon. Sarah made mistakes, but she's still your mother. Mistakes. My voice is calm but firm. She locked me out of food for days, stole my inheritance, and made me a servant while Mike robbed her blind. She's suffering now. Living with her wasn't easy either. 1 year later, I stand in the living room of my very own home, a cozy townhouse I bought with my promotion bonus. David's arms wrap around me, his engagement ring catching the sunlight streaming through the windows. Look what came, Rachel says, handing me a tear-stained letter. It's from Mom. My dearest Amy, I'm sorry for everything. Please come home. I need you. I drop the letter into the shredder without reading further. Through the window, I watch kids playing in the street. Free, happy, safe. Things I never was in that house. Your mom's still asking about you. David asks, pressing a kiss to my temple. She's not my mom anymore. I reply, my voice steady. Just someone who taught me what kind of parent I'll never be. My phone buzzes with a text from Lisa. Mike got 5 years. Thought you'd want to know. I smile and delete the message. On my desk at work, a shiny new nameplate reads, Senior Financial Analyst. My fridge is always full. My doors have no locks, except the ones I control. Ready for dinner? Rachel calls from the kitchen. David's attempting to cook. Hey, I'm getting better. David protests. I laugh, really laugh, the kind of laugh that was never allowed in my old house. They thought they were breaking me. Instead, they showed me my own strength. Sometimes, the best revenge isn't about getting even. It's about getting free. And me? I'm finally gloriously free. What would you do if faced with the choice between financial stability and confronting a toxic family member? Would you stay silent to keep a roof over your head, or risk it all to stand up for yourself like I did? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If this story resonated with you, consider subscribing to hear more stories of survival and justice. Sometimes the hardest battles are fought behind closed doors, but you are not alone. Hi, I'm Emily, a pediatric nurse practitioner. Ever wondered what it feels like to be treated like Cinderella by your own family, minus the fairy godmother? What I'm about to share might make you question everything you think you know about family loyalty. It was 3:00 a.m., and I was fighting exhaustion after another grueling night shift. Charts for room 205 need updating. I muttered to myself, stifling a yawn. Then my phone buzzed. Mom again. Have you ordered the champagne for Amanda's engagement party? And don't forget to pick up her dress tomorrow, she demanded. Mom, I just worked 16 hours straight. Can't Amanda handle her own errands? Don't be selfish, Emily. This is your sister's big moment. Not everyone can own an art gallery by 25. Right? The art gallery our parents dumped $200,000 into while I worked night shifts, changing bedpans to pay for nursing school. The same parents who drained my college fund to pay for Amanda's first wedding. To some Miami con artists. Maya, my best friend, popped her head into the break room. Girl, you look dead. Another Amanda emergency. When isn't it? I groaned. Remember when she got that $500 prom dress while I wore her old homecoming gown? The one with the wine stain. Straight up criminal, Maya said with a knowing shake of her head. Dr. Chin interrupted us. Emily, excellent work on the Henderson case. You've got a natural gift for pediatric care. Thanks, Dr. Chen. I replied, grateful for even a shred of acknowledgement. Then my phone buzzed again. Amanda this time. Where are you? I need you to meet the wedding planner in an hour. Amanda, I'm at work. Actual work. Saving actual lives. Oh please, you're just a nurse. Some of us have real careers to manage. Daddy says you're being difficult about helping with the wedding. I gripped my phone tighter, anger bubbling beneath my exhaustion. Maybe it's because I'm working doubles to pay off my student loans while you play artists with their money. Mrs. Peterson, the grandmother of one of my patients, overheard me as she visited the ward. Emily dear, I couldn't help but notice how dedicated you are to these children. James mentioned you're helping with the wedding. Helping? More like being forced to serve. Serve? But you're the bride's sister. My phone pinged again. A text from Mom. Don't forget to help the caterers set up tomorrow, and wear something presentable. Amanda doesn't want you embarrassing her in front of James's family. As I stared at my reflection in the hospital window, scrubs wrinkled, hair falling out of my messy bun, I felt something inside me snap. I was done. Their perfect little family dynamic was about to crumble, and Amanda's wedding, it would be the catalyst. They wanted me to serve at this wedding? Oh, I'd serve them something all right. A cold dish called karma. The next morning, I dragged myself into the bridal shop after another sleepless night. Amanda stood on a pedestal draped in a $15,000 designer gown, while Mom fawned over her. Finally, where have you been? These alterations won't handle themselves, Amanda snapped. Sorry, I was busy saving a 4-year-old from respiratory failure. Oh please, anyone can hand out band-aids and take temperatures, she smirked, adjusting her veil. That's right, honey, Mom chimed in. Real success is owning your own business, like Amanda's gallery. The seamstress looked uncomfortable as she pinned Amanda's hem. I bit my tongue, recalling the night I discovered the truth about my missing college fund. $80,000, gone, transferred to cover Amanda's first failed marriage. Speaking of money, Amanda chirped, James's cousin Emma is coming to the rehearsal dinner. She's some big shot at Metropolitan Hospital. My stomach twisted. Emma Wilson, the woman whose son I'd resuscitated last month. The rehearsal dinner was worse than I'd imagined. Dad stood, glass in hand, to make a toast. And a special thanks to my eldest, Emily, who will be helping our catering staff tonight. The room fell silent. Emma Wilson's fork clattered against her plate. Emily, the nurse practitioner who saved my Tommy's life? She's your daughter. Mom quickly plastered on a tight smile. Oh, Emily just loves helping out. Always happy to serve, aren't you, dear? I stood frozen, balancing a tray of appetizers. My white nursing shoes peeked out from under the black server's apron they forced me to wear. That's our Emily, Amanda said loudly, her laugh cutting through the room. Always playing servant. I guess some people just know their place. Emma pushed back her chair and stood abruptly. Their place? This woman performed CPR on my son for 6 minutes until his heart started beating again. She worked a double shift to monitor him personally. The room erupted into whispers. James's mother, Mrs. Peterson, stared at my parents in undisguised shock. I retreated to the kitchen, my hands trembling, only to hear Mom and Amanda's voices around the corner. Can you believe Emma? Making such a scene, as if running around with a stethoscope makes someone special, Amanda sneered. I know, darling, but we had to invite the hospital crowd. James's family insisted, Mom replied. Just think, after tomorrow's wedding, you'll never have to acknowledge your sister's embarrassing little career again. The tray slipped from my hands, shattering against the marble floor. As I stared at the broken shards, something inside me chattered too. The perfect facade they'd built was about to crumble. And I had the perfect plan. Tomorrow's wedding wouldn't just be Amanda's big day, it would be the day I showed them who I really was. Trust me, they weren't going to like it. The wedding day dawned bright over the country club. I adjusted the hideous beige bridesmaid dress Amanda had chosen, ensuring I wouldn't outshine her. Guests were already arriving, including my hospital colleagues, invited at James's family's insistence. The flower arrangements need fixing in the West Wing, Mom barked, shoving a box of roses into my arms. And for heaven's sake, do something about your hair. You look like you just left the hospital. I did, I said flatly, because I was saving lives while everyone else was at the rehearsal dinner. Through the window, I spotted Dr. Chen striding across the lawn, an envelope in hand. Before she reached me, Amanda burst into the room. Why is your boss here? This is my day, Emily. Emily, Dr. Chen called out, ignoring Amanda's glare. The National Pediatric Association results are in. You've won Young Practitioner of the Year. The award comes with a $250,000 research grant. The room went silent. Amanda's face twisted with rage. Of course she did. Everything's about precious Emily and her stupid nurse job. Well, guess what? My gallery just landed an exclusive contract with the Guggenheim. Mrs. Peterson stepped forward, her expression sharp. Interesting. My friend on the Guggenheim board mentioned they rejected your application last month. In fact, they said your gallery hasn't sold a single authentic piece. Amanda went pale. That's a lie. Is it? Emma asked, stepping in. Because my husband's art appraisal firm flagged several pieces in your gallery as potential forgeries. The wedding planner burst into the room, visibly distressed. Mrs. Peterson, the credit card for the final payment was declined. My father lunged for his phone, his face ashen. Amanda, what's going on with the gallery accounts? Nothing. I just needed to move some money around, Amanda stammered. The investments weren't paying off as quickly as. Investments? James appeared in the doorway, his expression cold. You told me the gallery was profitable. Mom tried to intervene. James, darling, all new businesses have growing pains. Emily, stop standing there and help fix this mess. Dr. Chen's voice cut through the chaos. Like she fixed Tommy Wilson's heart when it stopped. Like she fixes children's lives every day while you treat her like hired help. The room erupted. One by one, my hospital colleagues stood, sharing stories of my dedication and skill. Mrs. Peterson revealed Amanda's attempts to bribe her son's real estate firm into falsifying gallery valuations. Through it all, I stood silent, watching their perfect world crumble. Years of lies, manipulation, and cruelty laid bare under the harsh light of truth. This wedding is over, James announced, removing his tie. And so is our engagement. As Amanda collapsed into theatrical sobs, I felt an overwhelming calm. This wasn't the end. It was just the beginning of their downfall. 6 months later, I sat in my new office at Metropolitan Children's Hospital, the Young Practitioner of the Year award framed on my wall. The morning paper lay on my desk. The headline read, Local Art Gallery Owner Faces Fraud Charges. Prominent Family's Reputation in Ruins. My phone buzzed. Another voicemail from Mom. Emily, please, we need to talk. The bank is foreclosing on the house. Your father's partners are pushing him out of the firm. Can't you tell the investigators it was all a misunderstanding? I deleted the message without responding. The investigation had revealed Amanda's gallery was a massive fraud scheme. Every exclusive piece was a forgery, and my parents had helped her fake the books to secure loans. Your 9 o'clock is here, my assistant announced. Mrs. Peterson and Emma entered, both now regular fixtures in my life. Emma, as the hospital administrator, had championed the new pediatric wing. My promotion to head of pediatric care had just been announced, with Mrs. Peterson's charitable foundation funding our department's expansion. As I admired the plans for the new wing, Emma handed me a newspaper, her lips curling into a smirk. Have you seen this? Amanda tried to flee to Miami. The FBI caught her at the airport. Karma's a fascinating thing, Mrs. Peterson added with a knowing smile. James sends his regards either way. His real estate firm is thriving without your family's toxic influence. Before I could respond, my office phone rang. The hospital's main line. Dr. Chen here. We have a critical case incoming, 4-year-old respiratory distress. I'm on my way. Grabbing my stethoscope, I hurried to the emergency room, purpose steadying my stride. But when I arrived, I froze. The patient was my cousin's daughter. My aunt stood beside her, tears streaming down her face. Emily, please, she begged. I know we've all treated you horribly, but she can't breathe. Her words pierced me, but I didn't hesitate. Professionalism took over as I focused on stabilizing her daughter. Hours later, the crisis passed. The child lay peacefully asleep, her breathing even. Thank you, my aunt whispered. Your mother, she's having a breakdown. The scandal, the financial ruin. She keeps saying she deserves it for how she treated you. She does deserve it, I replied, my tone calm and even. But that little girl didn't. That's the difference between them and me. That evening, Maya hosted a dinner party to celebrate my department's expansion. My real family surrounded me, Dr. Chen, Emma, Mrs. Peterson, and colleagues who had stood by me. To karma, justice, and choosing your own family, Dr. Chen said, raising her glass in a toast. As laughter and warmth filled the room, my phone buzzed one last time. Amanda's name lit up the screen, her call coming from jail. Without hesitation, I declined and turned off my phone. You know, Mrs. Peterson mused, swirling her glass of wine, sometimes the best revenge isn't about getting even. It's about rising so far above them, they can't touch you anymore. I looked around at the people who valued me for who I was, not what I could do for them. My parents had lost everything, their money, reputation, and social standing. Meanwhile, I had gained a life built on integrity and love. To real family, I said, raising my glass. As we celebrated, I felt no guilt, no regret. My parents had chosen their path, and I had chosen mine. The servant girl they had tried to break had become the success they only pretended to be. That was the sweetest justice of all. What about you? Have you ever faced the choice between forgiving toxic family members or cutting them off for your own peace? Emily chose to walk away, even after their downfall and attempts at reconciliation. If you were in her shoes, would you have given them another chance, or maintained firm boundaries like she did? How far should someone go to pursue justice against family members who have wronged them? Does complete separation truly heal, or does it leave wounds that never fully close? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your experiences might help others navigate similar struggles with toxic family dynamics. If this story resonated with you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more real stories about standing up to toxic relationships and finding your true worth. Hello, everyone. I'm Susan, a painter and the director of New Horizons, a refugee charity organization based in downtown Chicago. Today, I want to share a story about how jealousy within my own family led to betrayal and ultimately their downfall. The paintings looked breathtaking. My studio was bathed in the warm afternoon light, illuminating the vibrant canvases propped against the walls. "You've really outdone yourself this time," William said, wrapping his arms around my waist. His voice was soft but filled with pride. My fiancé had always been my biggest supporter, especially since I started combining my art with my charity work. "Thanks, babe," I replied, leaning into him. "I'm hoping these pieces will bring in good money at next month's fundraiser. The refuge housing project needs all the help it can get." Speaking of the fundraiser, he began, his tone more serious. "Your Aunt Lisa called earlier. She wants to know if she can handle the art auction section." I smiled at the mention of Aunt Lisa. After my mother passed away when I was 12, Lisa had stepped in as a mother figure. That would be great. She's always been so supportive of my work. Before William could respond, the door to my studio swung open. "Hey there, superstar," my cousin Nancy's voice rang out, cutting through the calm. As usual, she walked in uninvited, her heels clicking on the hardwood floor. She gave the room a once-over, her lips curling into a faint smirk. "Still playing with paint while some of us have real jobs." "Running a charity organization is a real job, Nancy," I replied, trying to keep my voice neutral. Her remarks had been growing sharper ever since William proposed. "Oh please," she scoffed, rolling her eyes as she inspected her manicured nails. "We all know Daddy's connections got you that position." Before I could respond, Diana, my best friend and a local journalist, entered with Marcus, one of our major donors. The room immediately felt lighter. "Susan, the press release for the fundraiser is ready," Diana said, her enthusiasm contagious. "And Marcus has some amazing news. We're doubling our donation this quarter," Marcus announced, his genuine excitement a stark contrast to Nancy's forced smile. "Your work with the refugee families has been incredible." "Wow, Marcus, thank you so much," I said, my heart swelling with gratitude. Out of the corner of my eye, I caught Nancy's expression darken. "Well, isn't this cozy?" Aunt Lisa's voice rang out as she entered, her designer handbag swinging casually. She gave me a smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. "Susan, darling, I hope you're not overwhelming yourself with all this charity work. Your mother always worried about you taking on too much." "I'm doing just fine, Aunt Lisa. In fact, we're expanding our programs next month." "Of course you are," Nancy muttered under her breath. "Because everything always works out perfectly for precious Susan." Diana caught my eye, her look filled with concern. She'd been warning me about Nancy's increasingly hostile behavior, but I kept brushing it off. They were family, after all. "The fundraiser will be spectacular," William interjected, sensing the tension. "Susan's new collection alone should bring in substantial donations." "Oh yes, about that," Aunt Lisa said, her voice honeyed. "I have some wonderful contacts who might be interested in your work gear. Why don't you let me handle the sales?" Looking back, I should have seen the warning signs in their eagerness to involve themselves in my art and the charity's finances. But sometimes, love blinds us to the truth about family. The whispers started a week later during a board meeting. As I entered the room, conversation stopped abruptly, replaced by wary glances. "Susan," one board member finally spoke up, clearing his throat, Is it true you've been redirecting donation funds for personal use? What? My stomach dropped. Absolutely not. Where did you hear that? While he hesitated, Nancy mentioned some concerning transactions. My blood ran cold. Nancy had been helping with our bookkeeping recently, a favor I now deeply regretted. The accusations escalated during a donor meeting later that week. Aunt Lisa cleared her throat dramatically before speaking. Perhaps we should discuss Susan's unconventional management style, she said, her tone dripping with feigned concern. We can't have donors questioning where their money goes. What exactly are you implying, Lisa? Diana asked, her journalist instincts kicking in. Oh, nothing, dear. Just that perhaps Susan isn't quite ready for such responsibility. Running a charity requires mature judgment. The final blow came during our largest fundraising event of the year. I was on stage presenting our annual achievements when the PowerPoint presentation abruptly switched to photos of me at college parties, personal, embarrassing snapshots I hadn't seen in years. I'm so sorry, everyone, Nancy gasped theatrically, rushing to the laptop. These must have gotten mixed up with the presentation files. How embarrassing for you, Susan. But Diana had seen it. She caught Nancy sabotaging the presentation earlier. I got it all on my phone, Diana whispered to me afterward. She deliberately switched the files. That evening, William came to me looking troubled. Susan, we need to talk, he began cautiously. Nancy showed me some messages. They're supposedly between you and Marcus. They're fake. I cut him off, my hands trembling. She's trying to destroy everything I've built. I know, William said, squeezing my hand reassuringly. I already spoke to Marcus. He showed me the real email threads. Nancy doctored everything. Later, as the last guest from the fundraiser left, Diana pulled me aside. I've been keeping records, she said, her tone low but firm. The rumors, the sabotage attempts, the fake evidence, all of it. Your aunt and cousin are systematically trying to ruin you. Why? I whispered, my voice breaking. Aunt Lisa practically raised me after Mom died. Diana's expression softened, but her words hit hard. Because you're everything Nancy wants to be, successful, loved, respected. And Lisa, she's always resented that you thrived despite your mother's death. She couldn't break you then, so she's trying now. I stood by my office window, the city lights blurring through my tears. The two women I trusted most, aside from my mother, had been plotting my downfall. But they didn't realize one thing. I wasn't as easy to break as they thought. I want copies of everything, I told Diana. It's time to stop playing nice. The engagement party was beautiful, a celebration of love and new beginnings. Guests mingled, showering me with compliments. For once, I felt at peace, until I heard that voice. Well, well, Nancy slurred, stumbling into the room with Aunt Lisa trying to steady her. If it isn't the charitable fraud and her lawyer boy toy. You weren't invited, I said coldly. Leave. Not invited to my own cousin's engagement, after everything we've done for you. Nancy's voice rose hysterically, drawing the attention of the crowd. Everyone here thinks you're so perfect, don't they, Susan? That's enough, William said, stepping forward, but Nancy was on a roll. Did you all know she's been selling fake refugee stories to get your donations? And those paintings? Please, she couldn't even afford art school without my mother's help. As the room erupted in murmurs, Marcus discreetly approached me. Susan, I need to tell you something, he said gravely. Your aunt approached me last week. She suggested we bypass regulations with donations. She wanted me to funnel money through her personal accounts. My head was spinning when Diana burst through the door, her laptop in hand. Susan, you need to see this, she said urgently. She pulled up an online art auction site. There were my paintings, dozens of them, listed under Lisa's name, including pieces that had mysteriously disappeared from my studio. You can stealing my work, I said, turning to Lisa. Stealing is such an ugly word, dear, Lisa replied smoothly, her smile unfaltering. I was simply helping you reach a wider audience. After all, I've always been the one with the proper connections. Proper connections? Diana scoffed. You mean your black market art dealers? I got proof of every transaction. The room fell silent as Nancy, drunk and reckless, began to laugh. Oh please, she sneered. Who do you think gave her access to your studio? Little Miss Perfect Susan, always too trusting. Just like your dead mother. Something inside me snapped. Years of manipulation, gaslighting, and betrayal crystallized into perfect clarity. "Get out," I said, my voice cold and unyielding. "Both of you. Get out of my life. I'm done." "You ungrateful little—" Lisa began, but I cut her off. "Ungrateful? I've spent years making excuses for your behavior, feeling obligated because you helped raise me. But now I see the truth. You never helped me, you used me. Every act of kindness was just another step in your manipulation. You'll regret this, Susan." Nancy spat, her face twisted with rage. "Nobody walks away from family." "You're not my family, not anymore. My real family is right here. People who support me, believe in me, and don't try to destroy me out of jealousy and greed." Security escorted them out as they screamed threats and accusations. I stood there shaking but resolute, surrounded by people who truly cared. "I'm proud of you," William whispered, pulling me close. "It's over now." But I knew it wasn't over. This was just the beginning of their downfall. 6 months later, my life had transformed. Diana's expose in the Chicago Tribune hit like a bombshell. Prestigious charity directors exposed in major art theft ring. "Your story is getting national attention, Susan." Diana beamed, showing me her phone. "The art community is outraged. Turns out Lisa wasn't just stealing your work. She was part of a larger network of art thieves." The investigation revealed Lisa had been selling stolen artwork for years, using her refined tastes and social connections as cover. My paintings were just her latest venture. "The IRS is particularly interested in her unreported income," William informed me over dinner. "They're estimating hundreds of thousands in unpaid taxes. She's facing serious charges." Meanwhile, Nancy's attempts to seize control of my charity had spectacularly backfired. She'd approached our board members with doctored evidence of my misconduct. Diana's meticulous documentation left no room for doubt. Nancy's credibility was obliterated when I presented the board with proof of her sabotage. "You should have seen her face," Marcus said, chuckling. "She actually tried to claim she was working undercover to expose corruption." "How did the board react?" I asked, though I already knew the answer. "They were disgusted," Marcus replied, "especially when they saw the doctored financial records she tried to plant. She didn't realize we implemented blockchain tracking for all donations last year. The domino effect was spectacular." Nancy's employer quickly discovered her history of unethical behavior, including her attempts to frame me. They terminated her on the spot. Her reputation in Chicago's nonprofit sector crumbled overnight. "Your cousin's been blacklisted from every major charity organization in the Midwest," Diana informed me later. "Turns out people don't like hiring someone who tries to destroy humanitarian organizations for personal vengeance." Meanwhile, New Horizons thrived. The transparency and resilience we demonstrated in the face of attempted sabotage attracted unprecedented support. "The refugee housing project is fully funded for the next 5 years," William announced proudly during our wedding rehearsal dinner. "Your story inspired people," he continued. "They want to support someone who stood up to corruption while staying true to their mission." My wedding day dawned on a perfect spring morning. The ceremony was everything my engagement party should have been: intimate, filled with genuine love and support. As Diana helped me with my veil, she leaned in with a mischievous grin. "Did you hear about Lisa?" "No, what now?" I asked, my curiosity piqued. "She's facing 8 years for tax evasion and art theft. The judge was particularly appalled that she stole from her own niece's charity work." "And Nancy?" I couldn't resist asking. "Living in Milwaukee with 3 roommates in a cramped studio apartment," Diana replied. "Her father cut her off after the scandal tanked his business relationships. She's working retail now when she can keep a job." As we prepared to join the ceremony, Diana raised a toast. "To Susan and William," she said warmly, "and to real family, the ones we choose, who lift us up instead of tearing us down." My mother would have been proud, not just of my success, but of my strength in cutting off toxic people who masked their abuse as familial love. Today, New Horizons helps more refugees than ever. My art career is thriving, and I'm surrounded by genuine love and support. William extended his hand to me as the music began. "Ready to dance, Mrs. Parker?" "More than ready," I replied with a radiant smile. "Let's show them how real love wins." My name is Lucas Thompson. I'm just a regular guy, a hospital cleaner trying to give my son Tyler the life he deserves. But let me tell you how it all started falling apart. Mr. Thompson, you're doing an amazing job as always, Maria says, watching me sanitize the emergency room for the third time today. She's one of the few nurses who sees me as more than just the guy who mops the floors. Thanks, Maria. Got 2 more hospitals to hit after this one. I glance at my watch. It's 2 p.m., and my shoulders ache from the morning shift at Central Hospital. But I can't stop now. The private medical center is next, followed by the night shift at Children's Hospital. You're working yourself to death, man, James, my buddy from the cleaning crew, says with a shake of his head. When's the last time you ate something? I'll grab something later, I reply. The truth is, I've been skipping meals to save every penny for Tyler's college fund. Your dedication is remarkable, Dr. Peterson comments as he passes by. Most people couldn't handle 3 shifts. His words bring me back to 15 years ago, the day Rachel dropped the bomb. I can't do this anymore, Lucas, she'd said, her suitcase already packed. Marcus can give me the life I deserve. What about Tyler? He needs his mother. Marcus Thompson is a successful businessman. Tyler will have better opportunities with us. I didn't beg her to stay. Instead, I threw myself into raising our 3-year-old son alone. Every parent-teacher conference, every baseball game, every sick day, I was there, even if it meant surviving on 2 hours of sleep between shifts. Now Tyler is 18, and those moments are what keep me going. My phone buzzes with a text from him, getting pizza with friends. Don't wait up. Stay safe, son. Love you. I reply, adding a heart emoji. Still, I can't forget what I overheard last week. Tyler telling a friend, Dad's just a janitor. The embarrassment in his voice cut deep. But I get it. What teenager wants to admit their father scrubs floors for a living? Your son's lucky to have you, Lucas, Maria says, breaking my thoughts. Sometimes I wonder if it's enough. I admit, adjusting my cleaning cart. You've saved, what, $50,000 for his college? $53,822 to be exact. I force a smile. Every overtime hour, every skipped meal, every penny I've pinched, it's all in that account. James whistles. That's impressive, brother. Tyler's worth it. He's all I've got. The next day, Tyler calls, his voice bursting with excitement. I got into Columbia University, Dad. Exhausted from back-to-back shifts, my heart still soars. That's incredible, son. We need to celebrate. Actually, he hesitates. I'm having dinner with Mom and Marcus. They want to discuss my college plans. A pang of unease settles in my chest. That was the first red flag. Days later, Tyler walks into our apartment wearing a brand new Apple Watch. Look what Marcus got me, he exclaims. And he's covering my tuition. Full ride, Dad. No loans. No debt. My stomach drops. 15 years of savings of breaking my back across 3 hospitals, reduced to nothing in one gesture from Marcus Thompson. Tyler, we have the money, I say quietly. Marcus is getting me a MacBook too, and an apartment near campus, he adds, oblivious to the weight of his words. Later that week, Maria pulls me aside at Central Hospital. Lucas, Tyler was here yesterday. Here? He told me he was studying. He was with Rachel and some man in a suit, touring the cardiology department. Tyler walked right past you while you were cleaning. He pretended not to see you. The mop handle creaks under my grip. That night, Tyler says, I'm having friends over. Could you, maybe not mention you're a janitor? Just say you work at the hospital. Are you ashamed of what I do? I ask. It's just, Marcus manages 3 companies. My friends' parents are all professionals. The words sting. Later, James finds me in the supply closet, staring at my phone. Another text from Tyler. Can't make it to dinner again. Busy with college prep. You okay, brother? James asks. He's never home anymore, I say softly. Always with them. I called the study group Tyler claimed to be with. They hadn't seen him in weeks. Have you checked his social media? Maria asked gently. When I did, my heart shattered. There he was, all over Rachel's Instagram. Fancy restaurants, designer stores, country clubs. Every photo featured Marcus playing the doting father, with Tyler by his side, smiling like he had everything he'd ever wanted. You shouldn't have to compete with a bank account, Maria said softly, watching me scrub the same spot on the floor for 5 minutes straight. Then came my birthday. I'd made Tyler's favorite lasagna and set the table for two. My phone buzzed. Sorry, Dad, can't make it tonight. Marcus invited me to his yacht party. Really important connections for college. Rain check. Minutes later, Rachel posted a photo. Tyler, dressed in expensive sailing clothes, laughing as Marcus wrapped an arm around his shoulder. The caption read, Family Day on the Mediterranean, Dream Bonding Time. #father-son moment. Maria's words echoed in my head. Sometimes the worst betrayals come wrapped in designer gifts. The candle on my store-bought birthday cupcake flickered, then died. Just like the pride Tyler once had when he looked at me. 2 days later, Tyler dropped another bomb while I was making his favorite breakfast. I'm moving in with Mom and Marcus before college, he said casually, like he was talking about the weather. The spatula froze in my hand. When? This weekend. Their mansion has a pool house I can stay in. Way better than this place. I looked around our apartment, the home where I'd raised him alone for 15 years. This place put food on your table, kept you in nice schools, paid for. Yeah, about that, he interrupted. I don't need your college fund anymore. Marcus is handling everything. Everything except being there for the first 15 years of your life. At least he made something of himself, Tyler snapped. Do you know how embarrassing it is telling people what you do? My friends' dads are surgeons and executives. And mine, he scrubs toilets. The words hit me like a physical blow. Those toilets pay for your braces, your baseball camp, Marcus can do it without degrading himself. Face it, Dad, you're just a janitor. That's all you'll ever be. Rachel appeared in the doorway, Marcus hovering behind her with his smug smile. We're here to help Tyler move his things, Rachel announced as if doing me a favor. Help him? Or help yourself? I shot back. 15 years of nothing, and suddenly you're Mother of the Year. Don't be bitter, Lucas, Marcus said, stepping forward. Tyler deserves the best opportunities. Surely you can see that. The opportunities? Or the manipulation? Been filling his head with shame about his old man. You did that yourself, Tyler snapped, tossing clothes into a designer duffel bag. Another gift from Marcus. Everyone at Columbia comes from something. What am I supposed to say? My dad's the guy who cleans up their parents' hospitals? Maria's voice from earlier rang in my ears. Marcus's company. There's an SEC investigation. Something about inflated stocks and missing pension funds. But as I watched Tyler pack, I couldn't even process the information. Son, please. We can talk about this. There's nothing to talk about, he said coldly. I'm done living like this. Done with your sacrifices and struggle. Marcus can give me everything you couldn't. Except love, I whispered. Love doesn't pay tuition. Tyler shot back. Minutes later, they were gone. I stood in Tyler's empty room, staring at the trophies I'd bought with overtime pay and the photos of us at baseball games, all left behind like trash. I collapsed at work the next day. James found me in the supply closet, my hands trembling. I can't do this anymore, I choked out, tears streaming down my face. You've done more than enough, James said firmly. For a son who didn't deserve you. Maria joined us, her eyes fierce with loyalty. Later, Dr. Peterson caught me staring at an old photo of Tyler on my phone. Lucas, he said, his voice steady. I've watched you work 3 shifts without complaint for years. How would you like to do something more? I looked up, exhausted. The hospital's starting a training program for medical equipment technicians, full certification, paid training, Dr. Peterson said. I've recommended you. Why me? Because while some people were born with silver spoons, others built themselves from nothing. Those are the people I bet on. For the first time in days, I felt a flicker of hope, not for Tyler, not for revenge, but for myself. When do I start? Everyone, meet our newest lead medical equipment technician. Dr. Peterson's announcement drew applause. 1 year of intense training later, I stood in a new uniform with my nameplate on the door of my office. Then my phone buzzed. Breaking news. Thompson Industries CEO arrested in massive fraud scheme. You see this. Maria rushed in, a tablet in hand. Marcus Thompson arrested this morning. SEC found millions in embezzled funds and tax fraud. James appeared with more news. That's not all. He was running a medical insurance scam through his companies. Actually, Maria hesitated, looking sheepish. I might have tipped off the authorities, found some irregularities while processing claims. The next day, Rachel showed up at the hospital. Gone were the designer clothes, her face was bare, her expression desperate. Lucas, please. Everything's gone. Marcus hid all the assets in offshore accounts. Tyler's tuition. Like you hid from our son for 15 years? I said, cutting her off. I was wrong, Lucas. We both know you're the better parent. Please help him. Now that your mansion's gone, get out. Weeks later, Tyler appeared in my office, with a nameplate and everything. Dad, I messed up. Columbia's threatening to drop me. I can't afford it. Why not ask Marcus? I said coldly. Oh wait, he's in prison. I was stupid, okay? I know that now, but I need help with tuition. Your savings. Gone, I said. Paid for my certification. Bought a nice car too. Even started teaching night classes at the technical school. Please, Dad. I'm working at a gas station, living in a dump with roommates. This isn't the life I'm supposed to have. No, I said, meeting his eyes. It's the life you chose, just like I chose to better myself instead of bitter myself. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have students waiting. That evening, I taught my class, sharing hard-earned lessons with eager students. My phone buzzed relentlessly, Tyler's text growing more desperate. What happened to all your fancy friends? I finally texted back. They disappeared when Marcus's money did. Like you disappeared from my birthday dinner for a yacht party. Maria, James, and I celebrated at a restaurant I used to only dream of affording. Through the window, I spotted Tyler in a fast food uniform, heading to his night shift. Heard he's taking classes at community college now, James said. While working 3 jobs, Maria added, Karma's a sense of humor. My new students call me Mr. Thompson with respect. My colleagues value my expertise. And I've got real friends who stood by me when I was at my lowest. Last week, Tyler tried one more time. Dad, I've learned my lesson. I miss you. I sent back. Some lessons cost more than money. Some bridges stay burned. Tyler can keep his regrets. I'll keep my dignity, my true friends, and my peace of mind. What would you do if you were Lucas? Would you give Tyler one last chance after seeing him struggle through multiple jobs and community college? Or do you believe some betrayals run too deep for forgiveness? This isn't just about the college fund. It's about a son who rejected years of sacrifice and called his father's honest work shameful. Share your thoughts in the comments below. Have you experienced similar family betrayals where money changed someone you loved? How did you handle it? If this story touched you, please like and subscribe for more real stories about overcoming toxic relationships and finding strength in unexpected places. Your support helps us share important messages about self-worth, dignity, and the true meaning of family.